The Internet of Things, or IoT, has revolutionized the way we live. With smart homes, wearables, and countless other connected devices becoming commonplace, this growing interconnectedness also presents significant security challenges. As more devices join our networks and daily routines, the attack surface expands. The attack surface simply means the breachable outermost layer of your cyber systems. A larger attack surface makes it increasingly vulnerable to cyber threats. Together, let's dive into the importance of IoT security, as well as common vulnerabilities therein, and practical steps to protect your connected devices every day. IoT devices are often designed with a primary focus on functionality rather than security. This can lead to vulnerabilities that hackers can exploit, especially if you use the same default settings that came with those devices. You should always toggle your settings for better security when you get a new gadget, because keeping the default configurations is the easiest way for hackers to break in. Once hackers infiltrate an easily breakable gateway, they can access and infect everything else on the system too. From smart homes to industrial control systems, the potential consequences of an IoT attack are severe. Cybercriminals can steal personal information, disrupt operations, and even cause physical harm. Some common IoT vulnerabilities include weak or default passwords. Many devices come with easily guessable default passwords, making them easy targets. Instead, use strong and complex passwords that are unique for each device and account. Repeating the same credentials can expose multiple profiles and systems if just one of them is breached. Enable multi-factor authentication on your accounts, especially utilizing biometrics like Face ID or fingerprints. These factors are unique to you, and thus can't be stolen as easily as a password. Lack of encryption. Sensitive data transmitted between devices may not be encrypted, leaving it exposed to interception. Insecure software. Outdated or poorly designed software can contain vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit. Regularly check for and install software updates for your IoT devices to ensure that vulnerabilities are patched promptly. Turn on automatic updates whenever possible, so your software is always secured with the latest patches. Insufficient authentication. Weak authentication mechanisms can allow unauthorized access to devices. Even one-time codes and QR can be intercepted by hackers who then use it to bypass your valid account sign-in. Use biometric ID whenever possible, because it's much harder to replicate your retina scan or thumbprint. Protecting your IoT devices. While the challenges are significant, there are steps you can take to bolster your IoT security. Secure your network. Use a strong, unique password for your Wi-Fi network. Consider using a guest network for IoT devices to isolate them from your main network. And keep your router's firmware up to date. Limit device permissions. Review the permissions granted to your IoT devices and restrict them to essential functions. Avoid granting unnecessary access to your personal information. Segment your network. Create separate networks for different types of devices to limit the potential damage of a breach. Use security software. Install antivirus and firewall software on your devices to provide additional protection. Be cautious about public Wi-Fi. Avoid connecting your IoT devices to public Wi-Fi networks, as they are more susceptible to hacking, and you never know who is spying on the network traffic. Research before buying. Consider the security features of IoT devices before purchasing. Look for devices from reputable manufacturers with a strong track record of security. Educate yourself. Stay informed about the latest IoT security threats and best practices. The role of manufacturers and governments. While individuals can take steps to protect their IoT devices, the responsibility for security also lies with manufacturers and governments. Manufacturers should prioritize security in the design and development of IoT products, and governments should establish regulations and standards to ensure IoT devices meet minimum security requirements. When you're choosing new devices, research their credibility and security before simply going with the latest fad. Conclusion. The Internet of Things offers immense potential, but it's essential to approach it with caution. By understanding the risks and implementing appropriate security measures, you can significantly reduce the likelihood of falling victim to an IoT attack. Remember, a proactive approach to IoT security is crucial for protecting your privacy, data, and assets. Security awareness helps us to create a safer digital ecosystem together.